guys, congratulations on the control room. I only watched the first episode to make sure that I was completely spoiler free, but I've got to say I really enjoyed it. It's got more twists and turns than Spaghetti Junction, so I'm really looking forward to the next couple of episodes. I wondered what grabbed you both about the script when you first read it. What about you, Joanna?
I mean, I was attracted to the fact that I was never quite sure what was going on and who was telling the truth and who was lying. So I kept reading because I was like, I've got to figure out what is going on and who wants what. And then the opportunity to get to play that character, I'm like, this is a dream come true, because she's got so many things going on at the same time. She's got so many objectives, and then also getting to play opposite Iain, I was like, I know that I'm going to have fun doing this. So yeah, there was a lot going on.
So what about you, Iain? What grabbed you about it?
Much the same as Joe. I think that's a really good way to put it. And I guess even reading it, I was kind of on the edge of my seat. I guess it was kind of one of the most exciting scripts I'd read in terms of being a page turner. And there really was points where my heart was racing reading it. And I was wanting to read the next episode straight away. And then also, I guess, it sounds cliche to say, but from an actor's point of view, it kind of is about the character. And I guess the first thing that me and Amy, the director, Amy, talked about was about the idea of someone that was stuck in the past, and how that's kind of I guess everyone can kind of relate to that. It's kind of everyone has, to varying levels, I'm sure, things in their past which they have buried away or they can't escape or still stay with them. And I think in Gabe's world, it started to define who he is. The fact that there's things in his past that he hasn't confronted or addressed. And I guess that's where we find him at the start, as somebody that's just, he's kind of just surviving. He's just doing the bare minimum.
Yeah. Although to start with, he doesn't seem to be that way. It's only as that sort of first episode progresses that you realise, oh, actually, there's an awful lot going on behind that facade.
Oh, and you're totally, and yeah, thanks for saying that. You're totally right. But I think that, I mean, one way I would put it is I'd put the fact that he works in a control room. It's like he's quite a shy and introverted guy. So here he is in this job where I think he's also compassionate and empathetic. So here he is in this job where he doesn't have to be face to face with people, but he can also feel like he's making a difference. He also is somebody that doesn't have, you would say, very close or meaningful relationships in his life, and he probably by choice, I think. So if let's work a job where it's unsocial hours, sure, I'll do the night shift. And so I get, and I think as it starts to unravel, you see that he has this relationship, a very complex relationship with his father, where what would be the right way to describe it? They don't really have a relationship, actually, I guess would be the way to describe it.
Yeah, there's actually a distance there.
Yeah, and I guess that a lot of that just comes from the fact that there's all this shit that maybe a very Scottish thing it is, but that just hasn't been talked about. And so I think he's kind of learned to just, I don't think he really gets, I just don't think he gets any enjoyment out of life. I think he gets a lot of fulfillment from his work, but I think that's kind of where it ends, really. I think apart from that, he's just kind of coasting through life.
Joanna, you were talking about your character earlier on, and one of the things that struck me was that she's very much sort of shrouded in a certain amount of mystery, actually. And we know some of her backstory from the first episode, or I'm not sure if we do, actually. But I wondered if you had to go about sort of creating a backstory for her anyway.
Yeah, we did, and we spent a lot of time working on that. And I was always taught in drama school that, you know, if it's not in the script, you get to make it the most interesting thing that you can think of. And so we put this girl through the ringer. You know, it was strings of unhealthy relationships, generating this concept that if something wasn't going right, she would just up and leave. And that's kind of what she witnessed with her mum when she was a kid, that her mum left her, and that's how she is in relationships. And so it was really fun getting to bring that into the rest of the show, because it's like, okay, well, at what point does she just up and leave? Like, is she ever gonna stay? Is she ever gonna break that pattern, that chain? And yeah, I mean, we came up with loads of stuff. You know, she wears loads of different trinkets and jewelry, and she, bless the sound department, because I had all of these necklaces and my lav mic was right here, and they were just like, oh, not again, every day I'd turn up and be like, but what we came up with was that every time she sort of stayed over at someone's house, she's taken something. That's for me now. And, you know, she has like a signet ring that doesn't have her initials on it. And she's this little magpie, and that then mirrors itself kind of beautifully throughout the story. And it was joyous getting to kind of create this character. She's covered in tattoos. She's got 16 tattoos. And it was, where did she get all of these? Why has she got this one? And giving her this kind of chaotic, you know, she's been sleeping on sofas. She's been, you know, she's been here, she's been there, kind of never really settled, never really had that feeling of home. And I think there's something about, you know, when this story takes place in her life, that you watch her kind of reach the end of that. She feels like she can't live like that anymore. And I think that's what's kind of fascinating about when it's set, is like, this is the changing point in her life.
Yeah. And I should also say
sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, that's, you know, when Joe came in and we did rehearsals, that's kind of when for me as well, and I'm sure Amy would say the same thing, it really came alive for us, because she just had this massive notebook full of it was the script, just full of all this stuff, but it was brilliant, because she just filled in all these, I guess you become so involved with your character in that story, and Joe came in with all these fantastic ideas, and it really sparked something in the show. It was we're very lucky to have her.
Oh, thanks, darling.
Now, you're both Scottish, obviously, you can tell by your accents. You filmed in Glasgow, and Iain, I gather you actually come from Glasgow. Do you actually live there?
I don't still live there, no. But I've still got lots of family there, so I'm back all the time.
So what was it like filming in your hometown?
Brilliant. I love it. I mean, I would film everything there really if I could. Like I say, it's nice being close to family. And, you know, the great thing about Glasgow is, number one, is the people. You know, when we were filming, I remember one day, I think it was like right at the start of the shoot, and I think it'd been the first time I've shot back in Scotland for, I don't know, years. And we were filming outside the control room, just on the street, and we were filming some scenes, and this guy walked by and was like, what are you guys filming? I was like, it's a BBC, it's just a BBC drama thing. And he went, are you in it? And I went, yeah. And he just went, well done. And then walked off. I just thought it was such a lovely thing to say to someone. And I you know, just the crew and everyone is like, we were just talking about it. There's no pretentiousness there. It's a great place to work.
Yeah, that was a bit like a welcome home, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a really nice way to put it. Yeah.
And of course, your character is at the centre of the story, and we've already said he's an emergency call handler, which is a very, very stressful job. I wondered if you had to spend time with any people who actually do the job in real life as part of your research.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went. Actually, it's probably a good opportunity, which I should have done already. I should give a shout out to Cardonald control room. That was the main one. Edinburgh and Paisley were the three I went to, and Jenny Craigie specifically was very kind to me. They were very generous with their time and their knowledge, and so yeah, I spent a lot of time in there. I spent about, gosh, I must have listened into over 10 hours worth of real life calls, and went and did a night shift and all that stuff. And if there's one thing it taught me, it's that I couldn't do that job. I went in, I have to say, like, it's part of the emergency service that I guess, at least I can only speak for myself, I'm ashamed to say I really didn't know a lot about. It's kind of the faceless side of the emergency service. And I just came out a nervous wreck. I mean, within the first call, I mean, I don't know how much I can really talk about actual calls, but a woman had dislocated her knee and she was screaming. And the woman who was the call handler was so cool and calm and poised. And you have to go through a certain checklist of things, the ASAMDR checklist or something. But it's all about, there's a line that Nick wrote in the script at some point. It says something along the lines of, you're with people at their worst moments. And you really are sometimes. It's very I mean, it really affects you to hear people sometimes in a moment where they're most panicked or heightened pain. So this woman, I was on this call with this woman, and the call handler was so calm and straight, and I was just about pulling her arm off, going, help her. Yeah, but I'm very appreciative to him. They taught us a lot.
I mean, that's a very natural reaction, I guess, to sort of go help her. But of course, they can't do that. They have to be very, very calm to get the information that they need to pass on.
Yeah, well, it was only after a while I realized, I wonder if that's why it's called the control room, because they are so in control. And a lot of it is about calming somebody down so that you can get the correct information. But you're dealing with matters of life and death like that. And from one extreme to the other, you can be in a call where someone's having a cardiac arrest, and the next time, I mean, somebody in there told me that somebody phoned them about paper cut, and you go like, I'm not in any way going to judge somebody phoning, but the service is also quite overstretched by people that at times can misuse it, and maybe take it away from people that maybe need more help. So it's a bit of a balancing act.
I mean, what you were just saying about the title actually made me think that perhaps it's a very appropriate title for both of your characters because of the degree of control that you exercise over each other, from what I've seen, but also yourselves as well. I mean, would you say that's about right, Joanna?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's got a lot of meaning, and it's exactly as you say. It's this sort of sense that they have a connection, that they do things for and with each other that most people wouldn't do for anyone. And that's quite extraordinary. But there is also a sort of my character ends up spending a lot of time in one specific room, and there was a moment when we were filming and I was sort of hiding. I'm not sure I'm giving too much away. And I was thinking, this has been her control room, because she's been in here, like with all these thoughts racing around in her mind. And it definitely has all of those kind of meanings behind it. It's very, very well done. I mean, that's just a testament to Nick and the producers. They've thought about everything. And it's so exciting to get to show it to people now. I honestly can't wait for people to get to watch it.
I have to say, I didn't arrange to have that siren in the background, but I did think it was rather appropriate. I don't know if you could hear that, Iain, but there was a siren going.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You've got them all on your computer.
Yeah, I'm in control. But the relationship between the two of you is very key to what we see going on in the screen. I wondered how you managed to get that sort of on-screen chemistry going. I mean, did you spend time together, or were you in the situation where you just had to sort of jump in and get on with it?
I think it probably helped that we've worked together before. It might have been,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the fact that working together was so long ago kind of felt appropriate for the story.
Because that was young James Herriot,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was young James Herriot.
Yeah.
And so when I learned that Iain was in the cast, I just thought, this is gonna be great. Love him, can't wait. And then as Iain said, you know, we actually, oh no, I forgot, we actually met up and went for a walk with our dogs, didn't we, in the park, and we had a little chat beforehand.
With my sister's dog, actually. Joe's dog is the coolest dog in the world. Here she is, Judy Dench. Look at her. She's got a little mullet and everything.
She doesn't look terribly keen on the camera, but
now.
She's
look
gorgeous.
At her.
She's the best.
So anyway, sorry, Joe. Go on.
So we met up and had a little chat about, like, you know, I don't think we even really spoke about the show, but we just sort of had a chat and caught up on like what we'd been up to for the last decade, and realised that we live really close by to each other, and you know that our lives had been too dissimilar, and that was kind of made it really easy to rock up on first day of rehearsals. And I'd had my hair dyed brown for a different show, and I think part of my, well, for Sam, she's like this bleach blonde with like colour through it, and the dyeing my hair process felt very much like getting into character for Sam. Like that was a big that was a really helpful visual for me, because I literally could sit there and watch this transformation happen over a couple of weeks. And I just locked myself away in my flat and like did visualizations of like what her childhood had been like, and how she had spent her time, and what it had been like at school. And like I had all this kind of like character stuff done, and then getting to work with Iain, it was like, if I suggested something, he was like a big kid and was just like, oh yeah, oh, and I don't know if you knew that you did that, but you would do this little clap, and it was like so adorable. And I was just like, I think you're fab. And you know, it was a springboard. It was really like someone would suggest something and the other person would be like, oh yeah. And what was really, I think, whether it was sort of subconscious or not, but like I felt like we brought out the kid in the other one, and like we both kind of got to see those children again. And then so when we were actually on set and it was 3 o'clock in the morning and we'd been crawling through the mud for 5 hours, we were a team, and it was just like, oh, we're in this together, right? Get army crawl again, get in the mud. Do you know what I mean? And it was like we'd been through so much, like the characters have been through so much, and I think that does show that there's a genuine, like they genuinely care for each other. And I don't think we had to like make that up or try very hard, because it was just like, oh cool, it's Iain, you know. Iain is literally the nicest boy. I honestly, when we were working together, he came in every day and
your
he was
fan
like,
club here, Iain.
He said
that's so nice.
Everyone, he learned everyone's names. He literally, he never had a bad day. And I was at the point where I was like, how is he doing that? He's making me look bad.
That's not true.
So happy and so kind all the time. I was like, he's faking it. He must go home and just like.
Oh, I was, yeah. I was faking it.
He's
I was faking it, yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Better than you thought.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, and you didn't sneeze
control
once.
room will absolutely go down a complete storm, and hey, I've made it without snuffling.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much for your time. You take care now.
Bye.
Nice one, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!